Good morning, everybody. We got some incredible charts we got to look at today. The markets are showing some signals. I think there are some signals that are present right now that are literally there to just trick people into making emotional trades, whereas I think the bullish outlook is starting to brew in a way that we cannot deny. It's all about what we're doing right now that's going to change the possibility of our future or leave us exactly where we're at or worse off. So the question is, what are you doing right now? We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. If you are watching on Twitter, head over to @AcademyBitLab on Twitter, where I just retweeted this live stream from my page. Retweet that. You will be entered to win. We got drawings every Friday for those that help support and get the word out about the channel. We randomly draw a day of the week, and then we have a number for that day, and it's the number. It's going to change every week, so we can make sure that we're getting things out and rewarding all of you for participating. But we got some incredible charts we're looking at. I do think that there is call for concern if you are focused on the super small time frame and you want to go long. If you're trading the volatility, then you're excited about either direction regardless of what's happening. So as you roll in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell if you are on YouTube, and make sure your notifications are turned on. As I said, we're going to be starting to do daily live streams for members here on YouTube and in BitLab Academy. For those of you that are watching on Twitter, I welcome you as well. Get involved in the live chat there. Make sure you head over to @AcademyBitLab and retweet the post showing this stream. You're going to be entered to win. I think we're ready to go. If you're ready to go, throw a 1 in chat. Let's look at this right now. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to BitLab Academy. We got to talk about some of the things in the charts because what are we doing? Oh, we're exactly in the same spot we've been predominantly for the last 6 months. We're sitting right here in the middle of this channel. These are basically the most important levels that I'm watching currently. And as we're sitting here looking at this, if we zoom in, I just want to highlight something. We got a bit of you can call this an inverted head and shoulders, but also if you just look at this portion right here, we got that cup and handle. It's all determinant about what this does right here. If this drops a bit further, this is no longer a cup and handle. But the interesting thing is some of the data I'm going to show you today shows you the swings that the bears are taking while the price is remaining relatively stable. The bulls are defending these zones. We've got to talk about what is the landscape, especially after that huge discussion last night. Hadn't really impacted price because you know why? They brought zero clarity on anything only substantiating the theater that is going on in the that part of our culture. I don't want to say the words because I get demonetized or shadow banned here on YouTube. Now, with everything going on, I do want to just highlight first off that I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all feeling good. We're coming into that fall weather. I am here in Atlanta. And again, if this is your first time here, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last. My name is Kelly Kellum here with BitLab Academy. I'm here to bring you meaningful tools, content, resources, and an empowering community showing you non-biased looks at these markets. So again, I hope you're all doing well and feeling well. I want to pull up Twitter really quick and just show you what you should be retweeting if you want to get involved with these free giveaways. Sometimes it's merchandise. Sometimes it's $100 in USDT. Sometimes it's memberships. There's so many different things that we share here. And I just want to, basically appreciate all of you that are participating. Coming over here to Academy BitLab, @Academy BitLab for the BitLab Academy Twitter. This post right here, I'm going to share it in the live chat, and I will share it under the Twitter page as well on my page right here. Let's go ahead and do that right here. Retweet this attached tweet for a chance to win. Boom. There you go. Now it is there. It is live. We've got some people in the room already, but we got to look at what's going on in these markets because this is on the day. Let's go to the hour. It's a green now, but about an hour ago, everything was red. We're still in the middle of all of this chop, and we forget to look at this macro picture of us just being in the same part of the range. If weakness does come in, and I'll show you why there are some signs that weakness could come in the near term, these are the two primary levels that I'm watching, basically 50,000 and down to potentially 45,000, which would be the break of a pretty large trend that we have all the way back here to December 2022, finding support here all the way from September all the way there through October. This is that sort of sideways consolidation period that basically went from here all the way across. And when we look at this, what does this should suggest? 214 days sideways with about a $7,000 range. What are we seeing where we're at right now? Let's go ahead and measure that. We are at about 187 days. So we're doing essentially the same thing we did last cycle. Summertime, chop, summertime, take the money from your weak hands, anybody that's capitulating and giving it to those people that are better situated with a longer term time horizon or just not as emotional. In addition to that, we can also see we're now at 145 days. You can see right here, 145 days post-halving. We're still looking for that 160, 170 day mark, which comes in. Let's go ahead and look at the bottom of the chart. Put it right there. What does that say on the bottom? September 29th. Does that mean we're going to break out on September 29th? No. It just means we're getting into a zone that the last two cycles, this is where price broke out. And then if you also consider the fact that basically global monetary index, the rate at which it's increasing or decreasing, we've been in a pretty drastic downtrend for some time, and we are basically breaking out of a 21-week trend line, suggesting that the global liquidity, the fuel for the bulls that can support higher prices, it's ticking up right now, and we need to look at that. So let's go ahead and continue on here. Based on what happened last night, this is what I see. Now I can get behind this. Stacked and stacking more Bitcoin day by day. The legacy system is broken. Be outside the system. Bitcoin, baby. And this is from a good friend of mine here in the crypto ecosystem. Spent quite a bit of time with him in person as well. Wonderful guy. He says, there's only one choice. It's time to exit. And you can look at this. Again, I'm not going to say words because all the censorship that goes on YouTube, but you can take the picture for what it's worth. Now, continue. Let's go ahead and exit that. Continue on. What else do we have coming on? Kind of tied into what that big talking event last night, the theater that went on last night. That was like an SNL skit with the way the moderators were unable to actually be nonpartisan and basically a 3-on-1 sort of match that we saw. But let's look at the date here. This is where we're at. This is, this is essentially the halvings, these dotted lines right here. And then what we're looking at here is a US, and you can read the word, but it has not happened yet. But what we can see here is post that essentially certainty is what markets are looking for. When there's uncertainty in the landscape, there is a drastic drawdown or hesitation or uncertainty that's also applied to risk markets and Bitcoin. While I do have an idealistic view of what it can be and where it should be, it still is tied in very much so to those risk markets. But we're waiting on this date right here. In this case back here in 2013, happened before this halving date, but still these two combined up. And then we have the halving, then we have that date in November up. The halving, that date, look, sideways chop, 170 days. Sideways chop, about 160 days. And what do we see? Up after. We are getting this sort of sideways and slightly descending consolidation. Now, does that mean it's over right now? If you think the bull market, the bull trend is over, first off, you don't understand how trends work. It also is a debate on what the time frame you're looking at. When you look at the time frame of the macro, this has only ever been a bull trend. What do I mean? If this was a 4-hour chart, it's up, rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace, consolidation, continuation, retrace, consolidation with a slight uptrend. And look at this. We broke beyond previous all-time high, which we had not done previous cycles. So it stands to reason, rather than just going sideways with little bull traps, we have a little bit of a basically mean reversion with the price action coming back in to a sort of counteract or sort of shake out some of that over bullishness, because all the institutions were in. All the institutions are in, so this time is different. I think there was a little bit of a hype that came into this market. In addition, you have to also contend with the fact that the amount of money printing that happened between this point here, basically May 2021 to this point right here, there's been a huge amount of inflation. So if you look at Bitcoin as measured by the M2 money supply, we haven't really broken all-time high because there's more money around now. But when you look at it just as it is, the chart that everybody sees and the majority of people are watching, it stands to reason that we get a little bit of a pullback here to shake out some of that overexuberance, in addition to the fact that institutions don't miss the boat. They decide what the schedule of that boat is. They hold the boat at the dock and they let everybody on that they want to have on. And if you're lucky enough to be able to read the data, if you're smart enough or exposing yourself to enough broad different data sets or people that are exposing those data sets to you so that you can make a smart, concerted effort and strategy plan for what you're doing and how you're interacting with this market and all markets generally. But in this case, we're speaking about Bitcoin. Then you're able to get on that boat with those institutions or get on before them. The truth is the large majority of the people in the world are going to be so far left behind and they're going to think everything was a scam and they blah, blah, blah. No, stop thinking with the populace. Stop thinking from the narrative that the news organizations are giving you. Start taking responsibility for your life. I'm going to say that again. Stop taking narrative direction from what you're hearing on news media. It's all bought, paid for, and basically crafted by State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Whether you're watching Fox News or CNN or PBS, it's all a scripted show. So what we want to do is we want to look to the data. We want to look to see what big money is doing. We want to take big money out of it entirely. What are the cycle patterns or what are the indications that a trend is going to develop, reverse, or continue? That's what investing and strategically trading is about. If you cannot capture the moves, then you're just going to get left behind. And sometimes part of that capture is just patience and action. When you take action and when do you sit and just chill the mother out? So let's get back into it. I'm feeling on fire today based on the theater that we saw last night. I want to bring you guys the correct data, unbiased data, and I want to bring you data that you can make actionable moves on based on what your strategy is. I do not give financial advice. I give a concerted grouping of different types of strategies and data points that we can pull together so that you can pick which different tools and which different resources you want to apply to a profitable strategy for yourself. Because I don't know what your risk matrix is. I don't know what your tolerance is. I don't know what your time horizon is. And the fact is, most of you have a time frame in mind when you enter, and you have this hope, I'm going to be rich. Blah. But then you change that because you get emotional. And again, I say this regularly. If any of you are watching for the first time, first off, welcome to the community. Basically these markets, financial markets, and the way we interact with them, because we're so tied to money, because that is the mechanism by which we navigate the world. Now, you should not be materialistic and define yourself by money, but you need to realize that your relationship with money is going to define how you make out in this market. If you are in addition to all this, this is an indication with how emotional you are or reactive you are in this market. That is a great indication of what type of person you are in your real life as well. Let that sink in. If you keep taking bad trades, because that's a great indication that you are acting to emotions of the charts and wanting more so you don't take profit, or being so scared of losing that you exit after you're down. It's all about creating strategies. It's all about creating guardrails. It's all about understanding data rather than looking at price as the signal. So we got some stuff to go into, so let's go into it. Now, if you can get behind that, by the way, everybody hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, show some love. If you are watching on Twitter, again, I do want to just highlight again on this post, right? If you go into the comments here, Go into the comment. Oops. Go into the comments here. If you're watching on my page, the first comment down, go to that BitLab Academy right there. Retweet this. Hit that like button. It will enter you to win. I do giveaways every week, whether it's our channel partners, Arculus, these great crypto cold storage solutions, or giving $100 USDT, or giving memberships to our different education platforms and groups and communities and signals. We do a lot there. So participate in getting this pushed out to as many people as possible. And you will not only be a part of the community deeper, but you're also helping support good content so people can make smart decisions. That's what this is all about for me. Now, looking right here, here's one of those signals that I do think is more of a, I don't want to call it a manipulation, but I think it's people see this and they go, oh my God, it's about to crash. Bitcoin miners have sold over 30,000 Bitcoin in the last 72 hours, worth around $1.7 billion. See, some people see this and go, oh my God, you know what I see? I say, you're telling me $1.7 billion worth of Bitcoin was sold and the price hasn't done a damn thing? That is freaking bullish, man. Now, does this mean we can't have a bigger dip? No, we absolutely can. In fact, I still think that we could have a washout down into these regions. But my point here is that the market is so damn liquid and there's still a huge amount of underlying bullishness, even in the near term. $1.7 billion worth of Bitcoin sold. Well, yeah, we're getting a little bit of a pullback, but look at this. We are sitting right here in the same range that we've been in all the way. I mean, if you want to look at it in this regard, let's move this over. Let's hide this. Turn that off. Boom. Let me see what date this is. Price here coming across. Look at this. May 1st, 2024. Come back further. February 2024. So we have the deviation above, came down, tested it, went a little below, came down, lost it, went back above. It's just chop, man. This is only meant to move capital out of your wallet into somebody that has a better plan. So where we're at, oh my God, miners are selling. But then at the same time, if it's so bearish, then why have centralized exchanges have seen $750 million worth of Bitcoin outflow? This is people saying, hey, I'm not going to be trading anytime soon. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my cold storage. So there are conflicting signals right now. And depending on if you have a bias one direction or another, it's very likely you're going to get triggered by the directionality of whatever FUD or Hopium piece that's out there. This is why it's good to look at this data, but it's also good to look at the structure of what's happening on the chart. Now, continuing on. Bearish, right? All those miners selling. Well, we can also see decreasing Bitcoin reserves and rising. So decreasing supply, available supply to buy immediately off exchange, which is also because just like we saw $750 million worth of Bitcoin outflows. And at the same time, rising of the dry powder in which people use to buy Bitcoin and crypto with. That's what rising stablecoin reserves means. So there's more and more capital that's being positioned, people buying dollars, or basically transacting dollars into a centralized exchange or a platform somewhere and saying, let me buy stablecoins with this. It's sitting there just stacking up, ready to be deployed into the market. And when it happens, I think it's going to happen quick. In fact, I did a story on it this morning on the street. I'm going to repost this afternoon on YouTube. Probably post it here on Twitter as well. But breaking down everything that's going on here. Bitcoin miners sold $1.71 billion worth of Bitcoin, but we have rising stablecoin reserves and decreasing Bitcoin supply. So rising powder and basically, which it's like a forecast of demand to come, while we also have decrease in supply. We also see institutional investors hold significant influence with Bitcoin near their cost basis, which we'll get into that here in just a second. Let's see where that's at. Boom, boom. Looking here. So here's the decreasing reserves. This is this line right here. Decreasing reserves. Oh, coins coming off exchange at the same time. Where's that other chart? Boom. On the other chart, we see stable coins rising. So there's the charts that prove it. It's not just the words I'm reading. And then we can also see there is another sort of, remember, I'm kind of ping-ponging today on the bullish and bearish concerns because that's what we're seeing the market doing. We're seeing hope come in, make prices chop higher. Then we see, FUD or some of the uncertainty comes back in, and we see the markets come back down, but they're not going, really breaking structure. But what we are seeing on the global, basically the U.S. landscape, U.S. bankruptcy filings, second highest year-to-date count of bankruptcy filings since 2010. That does speak to tightening in the economy that's not really being reflected by all the data that they're trying to push out. It's almost like they're trying to hide, what's really going on. So there are concerns. However, we get here. This is actually a new chart I haven't seen yet from the Rational Root. One of my favorite analysts in the space. I'm going to have to get him back on here. We've had him on here on BitLab Academy before, and I've had him on my podcast, Crypto Answered, many times. And we also sat together and talked charts at the Bitcoin conference last year in Miami. Everybody was partying. He and I walked down to the beach, and I'm not joking, we talked on-chain charts and data and market impacts and all those different things, the financial landscape, until like 2 a.m, just talking crypto. That's how much we are into this. And what we're seeing here, these are the average from BlackRock, the average generally, Fidelity and ARK and 21 shares, the average price at which their holdings have been bought. And what this is interesting because we typically, very often on the show, I bring up the short-term holder cost basis, because when we are under it, it tends to lead to a little bit more bearish sentiment and bearish concerns and environment. So in this case, we're finally starting to see, this was when ETFs launched. We had that initial sell-off, but then the Bitcoin price, pushed all the way up to about $73,800. And then as price has fallen, we're only now recently kind of getting into the lower basis, getting below the cost basis. So now is kind of like, let's see what sort of intentions these participants in the Bitcoin spot ETFs have. Meaning, are they okay with kind of holding underwater? Are they looking at it as a dip buying opportunity? Is this cause for concern? It's yet to see. This is a whole new landscape with these Bitcoin spot ETFs, but it also discusses, which is why I highlighted this right here. Institutional investors hold significant influence, and this is the first time we've really had them participating in this market. So when we're looking at this and we're seeing so many institutions having bought the Bitcoin spot ETF and retail coming in and big money coming in, the fact that this is under the BlackRock cost basis, the average price at which most ETF Bitcoin has been bought. We're also sitting here right at the average in general of what all these ETFs are. So this is just interesting to pay attention to. We're going to have to see how this develops. Now, moving on, we also see the Bitcoin's estimated leverage ratio soars to new year-to-date highs. This is where I talk about, and this is why I say in this article here on, if you head to this, I'm just going to show you a great resource, everybody. Head to thestreet.com. This should be on, like, if you have bookmarks or watch lists, whatever, within the different websites you pull data from. There's great information here. But if you come over here to crypto, we have a number of just great articles from everybody from Altcoin Daily and Rob Nielsen, who's phenomenal. Cryptos R Us. There's a number of different experts that they have on here that you can see. Mario Nafal, Scott Melker, Altcoin Daily, Wendy O, Natalie Brunel, Coach K Crypto, myself, DZ, Joshua Jake, Lisa Gibbons. We got some really great Michael Novogratz, Fred Thiel. We've got some David Duan, who I've had the pleasure of doing an interview with about a month ago with Roundtable. But when you come over here and you go to crypto, they're always posting great articles in here. And this, I was like, wait a minute, I did not title it that. It's just updated. Boom. There we go. Bitcoin breakout or breakdown. The signals are flashing. It's flashing in both directions to really, really highlight where those fissures are within the market and who's actually intending to stay around and not be chopped out by the volatility. Now, I talked about here, the estimated leverage ratio soars to new year-to-date highs. And this is important because of where we're at on the time scale post-halving. I've discussed this a lot. We're still within this 170-day sort of mark, 160, 170-day mark. And I do think because of the tightening of the Bollinger Bands, if we look at this, let's go to, like, for instance, the weekly, double click. If we look at this, it always does that because Bollinger Bands have such a weird signal where they do that. But let's actually go to the 2 week. This is the one I highlighted. Look at how tight this goes right here. This large amount of volatility here. You see how these two bands expand. And then as this contracts and these bands get closer and closer together, especially where we come in post halving, then we get that large move to the upside. Similar right here. This was last summer. Price action from March all the way through October. You see this sideways price action. See these bands are fairly wide as this price action moves to the downside, but then it starts to constrict. It gets a little wider, but then it starts to pinch right here, and then the markets move up. Now we have the global liquidity cycle on our side with the starting of, that's not really a word, the starting of the global liquidity starting to increase, and we're also getting these Bollinger Bands getting very wide right here on this move up. This is basically an indicator that highlights basically the 95% probability of where price will be based on the last 20 periods. So this looks at 20 weeks back, right? Or this is time a 2 week candle. So 20 candles back, it looks at the average price movement, where how volatile it was, and then sort of gives a projection of where the bounds of the price will likely go based on 2 standard deviations. I know that's highly complex. That's why I usually don't talk about the super highly complex. Let's just look at this. So we have the bounds at which the price will likely go. Look at this. Rejection comes down, finds support on this 20 moving average right here. Look, it starts to expand into this boundary, comes back in. Now it goes outside of it, and now we have this mean reversion coming back to this 20 moving average. In fact, we're going just a little bit below it, but we're getting this tight pinch right here coming right at the time, similar right here into the end of September, into October. So there's a lot of signs lining up right now with, it's getting to that point where people are getting more convinced that it's bearish just because they're bored, because most people in markets don't really make much money. Why? Because very few people in this market are patient. Now, this is tying back into what I brought up before. The leverage ratio soars to new year-to-date highs. So all that leverage ratio, all these derivatives, these exponential plays that people are trying to play, which basically puts little powder kegs above and below price based on how many people are going long or short on leverage, which provides, this is why we always talk about the liquidity, these liquidation heat maps, which show where, if there's all this down here, this means people were going long. This down, why is that? Because when people go long, there's a estimated liquidation point at which if the price does go down there, if they went 10x long or 30x long or 4x long, if the price actually comes down into there, it forces those long positions to close. And in order to close a long position, you have to sell, which is essentially taking a short. And in this case, it's not really shorting because now some people do flip, but if you're going long, you have to close your long, which is then selling, right? So when we see these sort of, metrics, this is on the 24 hours. Look at the 3-day. It's a lot more interesting. The 3-day chart, look at how much liquidity is below us right now. There's so much liquidity below us right now. So much. Now, I'm very bullish, and this is where people really mess themselves up. I'm very bullish going into the end of September, into October at some point, and especially post that big day in November, the first week in November. There's going to be so many people. There's going to be so many people that lose so much money. A good portion of their portfolios, and some of you, all of your portfolio, between now and then, because you're jumping at every move and you're trying to do more than the market's providing, and you're doing it with emotion and not strategy. And that's unfortunately just how markets work. Very few of us can be patient with an asset that moves faster than any asset in history. We can't be patient. We want to do 77x leverage on every move. Now, there are a lot of things you can do to trade smart. First thing is you trade with the portion of your total portfolio. You set aside 3%, 5%. If you're just a complete degen, 15 or 20%, which I do not recommend. And you basically partition off a portfolio that you do trade with, but do it smart. And that's one of the reasons why I did partner with CoinW. That's why we do have the Signals Lab group, which basically, if you want to join our Signals Lab group where we're doing all that live trading and setups and breakdowns and everything going on in there, when you come over here into Signals Lab, I just want to highlight it real quick, and then we're going to jump into some TA. We have live trading going on today. We've had it throughout here, and I'm going to be hopping in here doing a bunch of this stuff as well. But we have a $2,000 to $10,000 channel challenge going on right now. We have all these different, look at these profits, 25%, 25%, 23%. You scroll back and there's only more and more and more. In fact, if we come over here to Lewis, look at these different profits that were in this trading group. 90%, 46%, 183%, 78%, 60%, 68%, 55%. It's just nonstop. So make sure you're getting here in Signals Lab. We have all the different signals, take profit levels, stop loss levels, the leverage that these people are using. This is all strategy advice. This is not financial advice, but we got people in here making money. We've got some incredible stuff, and I have so much education that's getting put in here next week. I'm just waiting on editors. I'm a one-man show, so I got to wait on people to really get things done. Now, if you want to sign up and get into the Signals Lab, all you got to do is go to the BitLab Academy stream and go just below this right here where it says Free Traders Group. Click on that link. It will take you to the Signals Lab basically access page, which is essentially, where's it at? Boom, boom, boom. It'll take you to this page right here in Telegram, and it shows you step 1, register. You have to register with this link. Doesn't matter if you have another CoinW, you got to create an account through us, and then find your UID, which is on this graphic. It shows you exactly how. And then step 3, type in /verify, put a space, and then put in your numbers. If you guys fail at that, turn around, put yourself in timeout in the corner because you don't know how to follow directions, and then look at this again and go, oh, all I have to do is type in /verify, and then whatever your digits are there, enter. And then if you are registered through this link, you click register now when it posts, but you see that's not a UID. So you have to use your UID, and then it'll immediately give you access in here to Signals Lab. So we can make sure with that smaller portfolio that you are trading with, that we can do it together, and we can basically give you feedback on what different issues are. And I want you to get in here into the general chat. And I want you to ask questions, share your different setups and charts and whatnot. I'll answer questions in here as well. So shout out to everybody that is in there. But we got some more to talk about. So let's talk about. I love how when we're talking about things that we're providing people, we see people drop off because you just want to know what to do right now. You know what? You don't deserve to be here if you need the exact magic bullet in this moment. No, this is for people that want to learn. This is for people that want to look at unbiased data and figure out how we can grow our portfolios, because a rising tide raises all ships. Now, with this basically rising leverage ratio, as I said, this is why I think we're going to get a big move soon. And I think it's going to be in both directions, because when you get a lot of leverage, and look at this blue line pushing up here. You see this line pushing up. This sets up for explosive moves, because when price pushes to those levels to where people get pushed out, they are forced to close, and it happens, and it has these cascading effects where that's when the price moves very quickly. So I talked about this yesterday, but don't be one of these people where you see this mass outflow of basically net position change of short-term holders. This means they're selling, basically exiting positions, all while long-term holders are buying. And I shared this yesterday as well. I just wanted to re-highlight that. Now, on the nature of altcoins, this is what we're seeing right now. It doesn't mean we're all systems go yet, but this is altcoin market caps. This is the total market cap, excluding the top 10 and dominant. So this is the others chart. What do we see? Massive descending wedge, falling wedge, essentially. And then what do we have right here? We got a bit of a shoulder. We got a bit of a head. We have a bit of a shoulder. But even if you don't look at that pattern, this is the potential reversal pattern towards a bullish direction. Even if you don't look at that, what we see is a price action breaking out of resistance right here. And then once it breaks out, it comes up and comes back and confirms a move by retesting that previous resistance that it just broke out. Will it act as support? It has, but we're right now. It doesn't mean we're full systems go yet. This is the bulls trying to make a bit of a move. However, the price action is still sitting here with the lower high. We want to wait to see how this resolves and breaking past this zone, and I would say this zone right here before we have super confidence in the altcoins starting to make a move. But things are still, we're in chop zone. We're just really working people out that are not really designed to make profits, which is to be patient and to make smart decisions. Now, before we dive into some TA, I do want to say you got to protect your future. You got to protect your crypto. Shout out to our channel sponsor that is powered by Arculus. GetArculus.com. This is, and I really do believe it, the best crypto cold storage solution. And remember, we are going to give one of these away. Maybe we'll give 2 away. If we can get over 25 retweets on any of the posts, let's actually do it on today's post. If we can get 25 retweets on this by Friday, hopefully you guys do it today. But you come over to this page at Academy BitLab, retweet this. Come here, retweet this live post, hit the like button. If we get over 25 on Friday, I will give out 2 different Arculus, 2 random draws. I'll draw one from Wednesday's post, and the other one will be a random day of the week. So get involved, share some love, and then getarculus.com. Use code LAB10, LAB10, the numbers, for 10% off. Now, looking a little deeper what's going on here. Again, global liquidity is breaking to the upside, but I'm going to have to click 3 times for this to work. I know I am. There we go. S&P 500, we're still seeing a little bit of contention here about that bullish certainty. So I don't want you to just go all in and be excited only to have markets to drop 10% and then you sell before it rebounds, because we're seeing some uncertainty here in the S&P 500, the traditional markets. We want to see, I think there's going to be some uncertainty likely through next week until we get the Fed decision, but that could go either way. If we get 50 basis point cut next week, and you don't care about this because you're in crypto, but we got to care about this because Bitcoin's becoming very tied to traditional markets as it stands right now because of all these institutional and legacy players that are getting involved and uncertainty on the geopolitical stage and so on and so forth. So when that rate cut does come in, how big is it? 25 basis points or 50, right? In addition to that, is this going to be something that bucks the somewhat recent trend of when you get rate cuts that actually marks something's broken and the markets break down after that, which very well could happen? Or will things get buoyed by some money printing and, that sort of try to prevent it with cloak and dagger that way? So we're going to have to pay attention to what's going on here. Now, the other chart I wanted to show you, I can't remember what it was. Let's take a look at the capital flow, because we have not seen this. I've not paid attention to this the last couple of days. So we're still sitting down here in the zone. Now, remember, in the last cycles, look at what happened. Bearish trend. And then once it broke out, which is well before the halving, each time it had a large spike, came back, just tested, got people committed bearish, and then came back positive. Got people committed bearish, came back positive. Got people committed bearish, positive, bearish, positive, bearish. So the dominant trend here is that the capital flow remains very positive. The bearish trend, of course, you have a lot of money leaving the system. So what we see here, we have this arc kind of like this, right? So now we have this arc again. We're coming back up, very similar to in this region right here. We're coming back and testing that sort of how committed can we get the bears to be? How committed can we get crypto capital? How committed can we get crypto savvy? How committed can we get retail to give their money away to those bigger players? That's what this is right here. I'm very confident, and I could be wrong. Maybe we get another instance like this. Maybe we get a black swan, but we can't plan for that. We can hedge ourselves, and if that does come, can you either be strong enough to buy that type of black swan dip, or are you going to capitulate only to have it rebound and leave you behind? That's the questions at play right now. So things are still looking relatively good. I'm in the near term concerned with this liquidity below us. So that being said, if the markets do drop down into these zones, remember this is low 54s into, we can go all the way down to 52.5, but let's say about 53.564. Let's mark that on the chart. Let's go to 4-hour chart, double click. By the way, if this is all zoomed in, all crazy like this, however it does sometimes, quick tip for all of you, double click on this, puts it in auto mode automatically. Man, I got the coughs today for some reason. Let's turn off the Bollinger Bands. Let's zoom in here a little bit and see there's a little bit of bullish divergence between this point and this point on the momentum waves. We got the move up. Now we're talking about that. What was it? 53. What was that down here? 53.5. So let's look at that. We're using the liquidity in the charts to see if it outlines or lines up with any other data we have on the charts. So look at this. Price actually came down here to 53.5. We had a wick below, but this is suggesting that would be, it would give the opportunity to reclaim some of this liquidity down here that maybe did not get fully flushed out. So we can just put a little box there. I feel like Bob Ross. Just put a little happy box. See, to me, this would be a happy box. If price came into here, bounced, this would be a double bottom on this smaller time frame. It would set up that W formation that a double bottom is. And then we'd still have a higher low from this whole range. This would start committing people short and then having a rebound from there. I wouldn't be mad at that. And the reason I say that is looking at the 4-hour chart, you know, we are seeing this downtrend. I mean, it's been a downtrend on the 4-hour chart all the way since March 14th, right? If you look at it on the macro, it's a very bullish structure. It's a very bullish structure. But when we're trading and looking at these smaller time frames, we are in a downtrend. So until right now is the first instance right here at $53,500 where this pulled down to. This is the first instance with all these lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low. This is the first ingredients of a possible reversal. This does not mean a reversal is in store at this moment. It might happen, but as it stands, if we do get a little bit of a pullback, if this breaks out and then retests and goes higher, great. We've kind of confirmed this, but we confirm this higher low when the price, as our boy Matthew Hyland also illustrated yesterday, this zone right here, we have a higher low, which is right here. We still at some point need to break this high to have a higher high. So we have a higher low, higher high, and then we start having that formula, the conditions that you could likely be seeing a breakout. As it stands right now, all we have is the higher low. So even if we come down and double bottom here, great. Then we can essentially do something like that. If we lose this and come down, then if we still want to maintain the likely near-term reversal, and I mean in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, then we need to, if we do drop below this, we want to still hold above this zone. And there's a beautiful trend line that's on this chart that goes all the way back here. I mean, all the way, fucking May 2021. And that is also identifying exactly where this rejected right there. Look at that. Rejections all along the board. And then support. That was a very quickly drawn line, but come on, let's get in there, baby. There we go. So as it stands right now, I think any movement that happens in any direction, first move will likely be a bit of a fake out, small reversal, and then a resolution. I don't get worried until we break down below basically 45, which is the tops of this range, the 45 to $42,000 range. Everything between then and now, I look at is I still see a very bullish outcome throughout the rest of the year. What happens between now and November, we'll see. We do know that October is one of the most bullish months in the crypto market. So let's be a little bit hesitant on our bearishness because the market's not doing exactly what we want at this moment right now, right? We come over and look at Ethereum, and this is, look at this price action that we had drawn when this was, down here. Boom, boom, boom. And what did the price do? Exactly that. Now, in addition to all this, it's looking a little weak here. We want Ethereum to do great, but this structure is looking pretty damn weak. Why? We have this sort of impulse here. Impulse here. Basically a giant head. Impulse there. What does that look like? Is this suggesting what I think it is? I'm going to be prepared if it does. And that would be, let's go ahead and measure it from there to about there. And I do not think this is going to happen, but this is suggesting that a price could come down here to $1,000. I do not think that is in the cards. I'll be sad and crying along with you if we do get a move on Ethereum like that. But this sort of structure will have people drawing the charts like that. I've been drawing this. I've been drawing these charts for the last year and a half, sharing them with you here on the YouTube channel, and now also sharing them on the live streams on X. But I've been sharing all this data for since the last 4 or 5 years in different forms of media. But this is sort of the level. If we lose this, and we had this marked out 2100, we had this marked out up here. People go, no, it's not. This is exactly what it did. We got an impulse up that could not break beyond these previous lows that we had boxed out right in here. It pushed up into it, rejection, came back down, double bottom currently. If we lose this zone, I'm looking at price coming down here to basically 19 to probably a little 19 to basically 17, somewhere in this region here. See all this chop? We do have the order block right in here, so maybe it front runs it a little bit. But this, because I'm so bullish on the outcome over the next, 12 to 14 months, I'm looking for opportunities if this drops on my larger position portfolio. Okay. On my trading portfolio, currently right now, there's some chop in both directions. And you got to look for things that are looking well. For instance, a great one that I've been talking about this, and they are a channel partner, but because Drew from Blockchain Basement put me on to Constellation DAG. I'm talking like last year sometime, before we had any sort of partnership with Constellation DAG. But then I started doing research, and then when we had the opportunity to partner with them and seeing all the integrations that Constellation DAG has with the Department of Defense, in talks with the Pentagon, discussions with the IRS for basically data security, the metagraphs, the hackathon they have going on right now with roughly 700 different people building out metagraphs, which are basically the next evolution of smart contracts. Far faster, far more scalable, and far more secure. That's what metagraphs are within Constellation DAG. And it's basically infinitely scalable as well. And they're integrated with the U.S. Air Force, partnered with Panasonic, IBM so much. And we talk about this on the 3-day charts. This is why I'm stacking into it. I don't have to stack into it because I'm a partner. No, I'm like, no, this is great. And yeah, I'll help spread the word because you guys got a great thing going on. And they're only now pushing out into retail, which is why that they have this hackathon going on. And I believe it expires on today or tomorrow. But we're going to start seeing some huge development things roll out within the Constellation DAG community. But they've already been active. This is not a new project. They've been active with active contracts and partnerships for the last several years, and being effective, and the utility that has been explored and utilized with these basically defense industry vetted secure contracts. Now, look at this massive, actually from right here, from this point to this point, pretty large low. This point, right, much lower. What do we see on the momentum waves? Pretty large bullish divergence there. We do still see on the 3-day chart a bit of outflow, but this may be setting up for that opportunity. And I'm going to be stacking in a bit more here, but we got the large anchor wave, a little bit smaller trigger wave. We're on the 8-hour chart, but we also had this falling wedge that even when everything fell out of the market, look at this, it relatively stayed in the same zone. And now we have this large W formation that potentially could be forming with the double bottom here, with the large anchor, large momentum wave, a little bit smaller. And I think that we're kind of coming into a zone. If I get a dream buy opportunity down here in the 15 cents, 17 to 15 cents, I'm taking it absolutely. But I'm not doing any trading on this one. I'm stacking this for a position portfolio trade for holding until sometime middle end of next year, if I were to take profits at all. But I think what they're doing, what they're building into is phenomenal. So definitely take a look at that. This is, we're kind of, this is looking like it's trying to bottom as we speak. Aerodrome also, remember, this went up to 239, 240, and it's back down here at 50 cents. And it's part, Coinbase Ventures put $100 million into Aerodrome back here in February. This is literally what was a catalyst for this large jump here, brought it to everybody's radar. This is a DEX on Base, in the Base ecosystem. They've got a huge amount of TVL. They're, integrated within the Base ecosystem, and Coinbase Ventures is also essentially, I won't call it a partner, but, very heavily involved with their investments in this as well. Now, also, look, coming down, this wick down, and then we have a third tap right in here. I mean, this is in this opportunity zone, especially with this bullish divergence on the momentum waves. What is the BitLab intelligence suggesting here? Look at these reversals. A little reversal, but failed. We have this descending trend line, descending level of resistance. But as it stands right now, I think I'm expecting some consolidation. If we don't get a big move on Bitcoin, I'm expecting some consolidation into next week and into the end of September. We'll start seeing the attempts to be breaking out. If this does move down, then I'd be watching. Let's see where this is right here. Essentially, right where, look at that, right where we bounce. If this does lose this, I'm watching for something down here in the 41 cent zone to, pick up more. But XRP, still not doing a darn thing. This is that multi-year trend line from June 2022. This was the impulse last year. Oh my God, it's over. And then what happened? Basically, look at this. Just weakness. Loses this multi-year trend line, even when the case actually officially became, for the most part, over on that news. Couldn't even get back up above this. This actually signals quite a bit of weakness to me in this asset. If you're holding this, be a super long-term holder, because I'm not sure that this is going to have those explosive returns. It could if they have some sort of new announced sort of utility within Swift and all that. But Chainlink's also very involved with that. You got Quant, you got XLM. There's a lot of different competitors in this space. And also, I don't even want to say the words, but Solana. How many of you out there are still holding Solana? Solana, stronger than most of the other alts, and the low that it made and the resurgence of price action coming all the way up into this order block here that automatically prints with the BitLab trading stack. Automatically prints. If you guys want access to these indicators, by the way, we've got the basically BitLab trend fuel down here, part of the BitLab trading stack. The BitLab volume, as you can see here, with these order blocks, and you can also have the volume profile on here as well as the point of control. But this automatically shows you areas of interest based on where liquidity interest was in the market. So look at this price action comes right into this green order block. Are we going to come back into it? But this has looked stronger than a lot of the other alts in that it got a lot closer to, I'm talking about also around last cycle, coming up to the previous all-time high, but having weakness here, consolidating. But there's a lot of VC and institutional interest here to get that. Now, if you do, these calls have been great on what's going on within this asset. Double click here. Look at these bearish divergences. Boom, 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 boom. And then the market drops a little bit there. But coming where? Look, we have the order blocks here. Comes right into this order block. The next target, I think, is going to be down here at the 126 to 125 level. If you are interested in getting these indicators so you can have a sort of clearer picture on what's going on these markets, head over. We have a full academy as well, bitlabacademy.com. But you can go to lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Sign up there. We've got an incredible Discord community. Also with that, we also have the ability to upgrade on the second page. When you sign up on the first page, you get 15 days free and it's 33% off for life. I don't know why I'm coughing. Damn. But then also, if you want to get the indicators, it's on the next page. You can upgrade and get those and take advantage of these different signals that we're utilizing here on a daily basis. So take advantage of that. This deal with the 15 days free for the Discord, the indicators are not 15 days free, but you do get a 30% discount for life on those. But this deal is going away. You'll keep it if you've already signed up, but the deal is going away when price does start breaking higher and we break past previous all-time highs. So do note that. Take advantage of it while you can. Also, just so you know, if you become a member of BitLab on YouTube, you have no idea how much that is supportive of this channel. And we are going to be doing the member streams on a near daily basis for the BitLab Academy, which if you're a member of that, the BitLab YouTube, you get access to those member streams as well. And they're going to be doing a near daily coming up here. I'm going to Singapore on Sunday. So as soon as I get back, that's when that kicks off. So take advantage of that while you can. Shout out to everybody that is a member. I do appreciate you. There was something else I wanted to share with you before we went. I forget what it was. Oh, where's it at? Others. The altcoin markets. Let's go out to the 3-day. Kind of sitting here on this shelf here. We're getting a little bit of a pumpage in this last two 3-day candlesticks, but we are in this sort of downtrend channel, but also got a bit of a head and shoulders here. It's just looking complicated and looking like there's just uncertainty in the market. We will start seeing, I think, some likely fairly large gains once this starts breaking out of this zone here. And essentially, let's draw it out. Let's draw out the level. Where is my box? There it is. This zone right here is the zone. Once we push up into this, it's not like we broke out. It's everything up into the moon. We have to break out here past this previous range high, past all of these lows, past this low, past this range high. That's what this box is. So if the altcoins, all these others, everything outside of the top 10, if it does, a lot of people are just going to go all in right here. Now wait for a little bit and then let this bounce out, find some support. That's when we start seeing some send in the market, meaning price action pumping. Cardano just, it's one of those coins, just like last cycle. Everybody said it's dead, and then it exploded. If we look at, for instance, Bitcoin here, let's look at add Cardano. Boom. So these are overlaid on the exact same time. Let's hide all drawings. Look at this point where Bitcoin is starting to run up, and look at Cardano as flat as it could be. It's dead. It's not going to do anything. No. All this just nonsense, tribal bullshit that people pull just because they're either impatient or it's not a coin that they're holding. Stop, everybody. Every one of us, stop that nonsense. If you don't like something, don't buy it. It doesn't mean it's trash or not. Let people invest in what they're going to invest in. Let's educate each other so we know what and why we're investing in something. But the fact that this had such a sideways price action, especially when Bitcoin had that massive move, look at this. From this point, when this really started breaking out, if we measure from there, let's see. If we measure from there, I'm measuring, I can see the crosshairs there. So I'm going to measure from there to right there. Now, measure from there across to when Cardano started pushing up, almost 100 days later. So it lagged, but then when that did happen, Cardano did, look at that. That went up to 20x from there. Now, do I think Cardano's going to 20x from here? No, I don't. But my point being, in terms of the structural dynamics, we had a little bit of a pop there. Nice pump to the upside. Price action came back down. So for those that like Cardano, they are building. I think they are building into the future. But as this is sitting right here, they had the upgrade. Typically after, big news events, you get a little bit of a sell-off. So this might be, if you're frustrated here, you didn't stack enough, this might be an opportunity. This has come down near market lows. Look at the structure of things rather than just being mad that it's not doing what you want when you want it to do it. The markets will never do what you want when you want them to do it. You just have to set up for basically patient success as things develop over time, and strategic positions on different assets, looking for narrative plays, looking for different things within this market. Every time I got to refresh this in order to pull up that deal. Okay, there we go. But that's what I'm like right now, guys. I'm so bullish on this market. I'm so bullish, even in the fact that we're in the near term going to have, let me say this. We're going to have some downward price action likely between now. I don't know. My camera just froze. We're going to have some likely downward price action in the next 3 to 5 weeks. We're also going to have some explosive moves to the upside. There's going to be a whipsaw in both directions. The question is, do you have a bias that's going to trap you emotionally in what's going to happen? Because when you zoom out on these charts and look at the macro suggests, in combination with the supply and demand nature of this market right now, that up is inevitable. Now, when we look at where we're at structurally based on the post-halving time frame, we're still not within this box that I've outlined months ago of when I thought we'd likely see some resolution in the price action. It has to do with where we would be post-halving. This also lines up with being post-FOMC. This also lines up with like the global liquidity cycle starting to tick back up, to seeing that fuel for upside price action. So the question right now isn't if, it's when, and what are you doing between now and then to make sure that you can capitalize on this and not let other people in this market capitalize on you. But that's all I got for today, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. Again, I want to just highlight this. Make sure if you want to enter the giveaways, head over to Academy, at Academy BitLab, right here. Come right here, click this retweet, click this the heart button there, and not on the Kelly Kellum one, on the BitLab Academy one. Retweet, hit that like button. We will be, if we get 25 between now and Friday, we'll be giving away a double giveaway on Friday. So shout out to everybody that's here. I love you. We're going to head over to DGen Alpha now. Show some love. Hope y'all having a wonderful hump day. And I do want to say, can't believe I didn't say this. My heart goes out to everybody involved with any sort of loss of life anywhere in the world. Of course, our focus here is, it is September 11th. We have to focus on what happened here, but there are terrorist attacks that happen all over the world. Anybody that's lost their life to anything like that, it's just, my heart goes out to you. Prayers with I love you all. And people, we all need to treat each other more kindly. I joined the Air Force because of 9/11. It happened during my senior year of high school. And shortly after, on spring break, I think a day or 2 days after my 18th birthday, which was in March, I joined the military because of that patriotic sort of fervor that was brewed from that. Now, of course, in the last 20 plus years, my estimation about what types of decisions are being made for what's going on geopolitically is definitely, I've lost a lot of confidence with what's happening with our geopolitics in the last 4 years. But I want us all to return to being kind. Givers gain, patience, and response versus reaction always can serve a more wonderful purpose and outcome than being reactive or being xenophobic or being, let's ask each other questions. Let's share. Let's not debate because I'm right and you're wrong. I'm waiting for you to be done so I can tell you my point. Screw all that nonsense. Let's treat people like we're in a neighborhood. We don't do that. We act like fucking assholes. I'm going to say it. We act like fucking assholes in public because we're like, oh, we're anonymous. It's social. It's the same thing. How many of you throw cups on the ground when you're at your mom, neighbor, or best friend's house? You don't. But when we go to festivals, somehow everybody throws trash everywhere. That's a great analogy on how we treat people. We have cognitive dissonance because of the diffusion of responsibility because of a mass of people that we could be anonymous and melt into. Let's stop that. Treat every single person like they're your neighbor. Treat every single person like they're your family. Treat every single person like your mother or father or somebody in your life you respect is watching you. Let's be better. Let's do better. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. We're heading over to DGen Alpha now. Just had to share some of those thoughts, and I appreciate you. I apologize for the cursing, but we got to be real with people. I love you. Adios, muchachos.